sure to like, share, and subscribe.
We need you. What are HBCUs? Institutions of higher education in the U.S. Established prior to the Civil Rights Act in 1964. The primary mission is to educate Black Americans. Location: primarily in the southern United States. But why? During segregation in the U.S., majority of higher education schools were mainly white. African Americans were completely disqualified or had very limited spots. The U.S. education system is one of the most unequal in the developed world. Until the 1960s, most Blacks were educated in segregated schools. The top reasons more African Americans compared to their white counterparts do not have as many generations of scholars. Slavery ended in 1865, but did you know that for a century, 100 years, most colleges and universities in the southern United States prohibited all African Americans from attending their schools? Other parts of the country employed a quota system to limit admissions of Black Americans. There are 101 HBCUs in the United States. The first HBCU, established before the American Civil War, is Cheyney University of Pennsylvania in 1837 and Lincoln University in 1854. In 1862, the federal government provided land-grant colleges. States in the South excluded Black students from their land-grant colleges. In 1890, Congress passed a second Morrill Act, required states to establish a separate land-grant colleges for Blacks. Many of the HBCUs were founded then. 1920s and 1930s, HBCUs developed a strong athletic interest, featuring excellent athletes. Prior to this time, Black athletes were excluded from participating in national games. Prior to 1954, there was only one junior college in Florida serving African Americans, Booker T. Washington Junior College in Pensacola. After Brown v. Board of Education in 1954, 11 new colleges were founded. Can you imagine how much of a relief the Black community must have felt after that? In 1964, the Civil Rights Act was passed. It mandated an end to school segregation. The colleges were suddenly shut down. This had major implications to the teachers and students. Very few were able to transfer to the previously all-white junior colleges, and those who did faced very cold reception. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter signed an executive order. This order allowed adequate fund distribution to strengthen the nation's public and private HBCUs. And in 1989, President George H. Bush expanded upon this. President George H. Bush created a Presidential Advisory Board on HBCUs, the Council of the Government on Relationships between the HBCUs and the government. HBCUs were founded to educate Black students. This has become increasingly diverse, from 15% of non-Black students in the 70s to over 20% in the 20s. What is Black Ivy Leagues? HBCUs that attract high-performing or affluent African Americans. This was prior to the Civil Rights Movement of 1960. The 1984 book, Blacks in College by Dr. Fleming includes Dillard University, Fisk University, Hampton University, Howard University, and Morehouse College. It also includes Spelman College and Tuskegee University. Colleges included by others are Cheyney University, Morgan State University, Clark Atlanta University, Morristown College, Gannon University, and Lincoln University. However, there's no agreement. Many schools that receive federal funding have undertaken affirmative action to increase diversity. West Virginia State University and Bluefield State College are prime examples. In both schools, they have a non-Black majority. There are special academic programs in HBCU. One of them is the HBCU Library Alliance by Andrew W. Lemon Foundation. The goal is to digitalize HBCU's collections. Another special academic program is the Online Education Partnership with Ezell Brown, an online educational entrepreneur. The HBCUs have been firmly entrenched in intercollegiate sports. This includes the NCAA division, with two historically Black athletic conferences, the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference and the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So, what is the impact of HBCU? HBCU generates a whopping $14.8 billion annually. They make the nation's economy stronger. They're a huge employer in the workforce, employing more than 130,000 people. Also, they outperform non-HBCU in retaining and graduating first-generation, low-income African-American students. Also, African-American graduates are more likely to feel supported in college and thrive afterwards than their Black peers in PWIs. HBCUs make up only 3% of the country's colleges and universities, but they produce almost 20% of all African American graduates. So, what is the impact that HBCUs have on STEM? Black and white students may attend to pursue STEM degrees at similar rates. However, African American students in STEM fields are less likely to attain their degrees. HBCUs help close this gap. 25% of African American graduates with STEM degrees come from HBCUs. Did you know that students with scholarships have a higher rate of graduation? HBCUs help by giving more scholarship opportunities to African Americans so that they'll be more likely to succeed. Campus climate also fosters success. Students in HBC learn more about all aspects of American culture and Black diaspora. This builds self-esteem and pride. Here are HBCU notable alumni: Martin Luther King Jr., Morehouse College, civil rights activist. Althea Neal Gibson, American tennis player, first Black athlete to win a Grand Slam title. Lonnie Corrant Jamin Shuka Rashid Lynn Jr., popularly known as Common, musician, writer, Florida A&M University. Thurgood Marshall, American lawyer and civil rights activist, Associate Justice of Supreme Court, Frederick Douglass High School, Lincoln University, Howard University School of Law. Ruth Simons, Dillard University graduate, first Black president of an Ivy League institution, Brown University. Spike Lee, Morehouse College, Clark Atlanta University, filmmaker, producer, Oscar winner. Oprah Winfrey, Tennessee State University, media and business mogul, richest African American of the 20th century. Lonnie George Johnson, Tuskegee University, NASA engineer, developed nuclear power source for the Galileo mission, developed GEMS, and this is regarded as one of the top 10 inventions of 2009. Anika Noni Rose, Florida A&M University, actress and singer, Disney's first African American princess, Tiana's voice in The Princess and the Frog, 2009. Katherine Johnson, West Virginia State University, NASA mathematician. Her calculations contributed to the success of the first U.S. space flight. Michael Shanahan, Texas Southern University, American TV host, NFL player for the New York Giants. William Edward Du Bois, Fisk University, Clark Atlanta University, American sociologist, co-founder of NAACP in 1909. Douglas Wilder, Virginia Union University, Howard University School of Law, first elected African American governor, 66th governor of Virginia. Nikki Giovanni, Fisk University, the world's most well-known African American poet. She's a writer, activist, and an educator. Drum roll, please. Kamala Harris, Howard University, U.S. Senator, the very first female vice president in the United States of America, and the first black vice president-elect of the United States. Drum roll again. For more information, you can go to HBCU Buzz, a news platform with the focus on shining a light on HBCU community in the U.S. In 2016, the Obama administration set a 6-year record expanding government support to HBCU. What administration has provided the most support to HBCU to date? The U.S. Department of Education notes the Trump administration. In 2018, they provided in excess of $360 million. This has been the most financial resource to HBCU than any other administration. HBCU or PWI, your success is linked to your commitment, work ethics, and staying power. We hope this helps on your journey. This presentation is possible from review of Wikipedia and United Negro College Fund. Now that you've watched this video, I hope it reminds you of the importance of HBCUs. For more information, check out HBCU Buzz, a platform dedicated to all things HBCU. And remember, please like, share, and subscribe. We need you.